for darkness and identified with it as perceived it as sinister and uncanny air of mysterious insecurity and fear.
And Mike Nyakutuiti says phobia is very dangerous in human lives. It can only be managed by having enough sleep in the day and avoidance of cantankerous issues and challenges.
Dr. Jack Solomon, in controlling our fears or worries, we must learn ways to relax, exercise regularly, get plenty of sleep, avoid alcohol and drug abuse, eat healthy, confront the things that have made us anxious in the past, take the fast track to relaxation and meditation through doctor's advice. We're not discussing really fears or worries. I think we said it's an irrational fear. All right, Rhoda.
Festus Akimboyewa says overcoming any kind of phobia is possible, but it takes hard work and courage. The only proven effect treatment for any phobia is a gradual and repeated confrontation with the situation.
Another one again from Festus Akimboyewa. This is a question. Can dopamine in the brain be implicated for phobia?
Ugochi Anthony tweets, a former Arsenal player, Dennis Beckham, had a phobia for flying, so he either goes by road or train, or the away games because his brother died of an air crash. Died in an air crash.
Tega Williams, please ask the doctor, I get irritated by snakes. Could that be phobia as well? Well, the psychiatrist, Dr. Olushola, two questions here for you that say irritation by snakes and then whether dopamine in the brain can be implicated for phobia. Very quickly before we move on to our next subject.
Well, yes, dopamine can be implicated in phobias. But let me talk about the other question because I thought...
Irritation by snakes?
Yes. Phobia is not about irritation. Phobia is about irrational fear. The kind of the person feel they actually go to die. They feel that they actually go crazy now if you keep them in there. If you don't remove them from there, they're going to lose it. They're going to lose their mind or they're going to collapse, you know. So irritation is not really phobia. And, you know, of course, snakes, especially here in our part of the world, we know that most of the snakes we encounter are poisonous. So we shouldn't really just be having a lackadaisical attitude towards snakes. But phobia means that, you know, even when they say that they saw if a snake 2 doors away, the person is, you know, running.
All right. All right, so that's the most that we can take on our discussion segment today. We'd like to thank all our guests who have been with us. Dr. Olushola Ephraim Oluwanuga, she's a senior lecturer in psychiatry at the College of Medicine, University of Abuja, and chief consultant psychiatrist, National Hospital here also in Abuja. Thanks a lot for being on our program.
Thank you.
Appreciation also to Chiriogo Udensi, she's a clinical psychologist and also based here in Abuja. Thanks a lot for being on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
Lord Mefor, forensic and social psychologist, thanks a lot for your insights.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, you're still watching Good Morning Nigeria. Nigeria had 9 gold, 9 silver, 6 bronze at the just concluded Commonwealth Games. We have guests in the studio to take a look at our performance at the just concluded Commonwealth Games, but after this break.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
All right, the Commonwealth Games have ended, and that's in Gold Coast, and we have this report put together by our correspondent on Nigeria's performance just before we bring in our guests to discuss the issue.
After competing for 11 days, the 21st edition of the Commonwealth Games ended on Sunday, April 15 on the Gold Coast, Australia. A total of 6,600 athletes and officials from 71 nations attended the Games, where 275 events were competed for. 39 countries appeared on the medal table at the end of the games, with Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, the Cook Islands, Dominica and British Virgin Islands recording their first ever medals of the games. South Africa emerged the best African country with a total of 37 medals, followed by Nigeria, which placed 9th with 9 gold, 9 silver and 6 bronze medals, compared to the 8th position achieved at the 2014 Scotland Commonwealth Games, where Nigeria placed 8th with 11 gold, 11 silver and 14 bronze medals. Nigeria's Aruna Quadri lost in the table tennis men's singles finals to Ningao of Singapore 5-11 to give Nigeria its last medal, a silver, on Sunday.
And he's done it!
Hosts Australia emerged champions with a total of 198 medals, comprising 80 gold, 59 silver and 59 bronze, followed by England with a total of 136 medals, and India in third with 26 gold, 20 silver and 20 bronze medals. In the course of the April 4 to 15 games, 9 world records were broken, while 91 Commonwealth Games records were equally broken. The Commonwealth Games, also known as the Friendship Games, provided opportunity for athletes to fulfill their dreams and demonstrate the true spirit of sportsmanship.
Right, thank you very much. Now we have joining us on this discussion, and that's Sunday Adeleye. He is the Technical Director, Athletics Federation of Nigeria. Sunday Adeleye, thank you for coming on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
And also joining us is Amos Daniel. He's the captain wrestling and a bronze medalist, medal winner at the just concluded Commonwealth Games. Amos Daniel, congratulations, by the way, and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right, we've seen the report of Nigeria's performance. Let's begin with Sunday Adeleye. Are you satisfied with the performance? Could it have been better?
Well, we, like Oliver Twist, will want to get more results better than this, but to be honest with you, we're satisfied, and there's more room for improvement, and we believe we're working towards that.
So why are you satisfied?
Well, because coming 9th on the table, leaving countries like Jamaica, Bahamas, and so on and so forth behind us, and then, of course, after South Africa, we're the only African country there, so I think we're good to go. Over 97 countries, I think we're up there, and we actually are proud of our country and proud of ourselves.
All right, so Amos Daniel, did you think we did well? 9 gold, 9 silver, 6 bronze. In 2014, we had 11 silver, 11 gold, and I think about 14 bronze, you know, as compared to 2014. Did you think we did well?
Yeah, I think just like as my colleague have said, we're very much satisfied with the result we got from the Commonwealth Games. You know, when we talk about results, or we want to make analyze 2014 and 2018, now the number of persons attended in the 2014 Commonwealth Games were more than the number of people that attended in this 2018. Like concerning wrestling, wrestling had 6 male and 6 female presented in the Commonwealth Games. And last time in 2014, about 12 or about 14 wrestlers were presented by the Nigerian Wrestling Federation. And so if you look at the cut-off of the wrestlers and also in other sports, I think we've done so fine by coming out in the 9th position in these Commonwealth Games.
What for you were the takeaways from the Games, Adeleye?
Well, the takeaways are when you see countries like Jamaica coming to Nigeria and saying, you guys are actually, what is the secret? You're doing something, for example, in athletics, where I can really talk about as the technical director of athletics, where the team Jamaica, the technical director of Jamaican team is saying, you guys are doing something different. That this is about the first time they actually see Nigeria acting professionally, because we came in with very young athletes this time, where you see the likes of Rosemary Chukwuma, who is 18 years, 17 years old, Joy, and so on and so forth, and they are, of course, bronze medalists in the event. So, because what we did again about the team is featuring 90% of home-based athlete, which is actually a good one for us. And then, of course, the other countries were like, we're getting it right, and we're happy that they are making positive comments about us and that we're doing something better this time.
What was the rationale in using the home-based athletes as you described them?
Well, you know, I actually studied the Nigerian track and field as once an athlete. I know that for this kind of game, you have, because chunk of our athletes are in America, in the UK, studying and so on and so forth, and because schools might not allow them come, which I anticipated, and it obviously happened. So I said, okay, we cannot just keep banking on our foreign-based athletes. We must develop what we have back home here. That is why we came up and said, okay, we're going to put more emphasis on the home-based athlete, and which we actually did, and then we got results.
I was going to ask you, 24 medals, about 14 won by women. And of the total number of athletes that went, you had about 90, and then 29 were women. Are we facing a death of male talents?
Well, you know, in sports, women tend to have more edge because, of course, women in Africa, we know we are superpower, strong, and, of course, better than our foreign counterparts when you talk about strength. So, and then there's this concentration on women, too, because that is where you can easily pick medals. So that's what happened. But if you see what we're doing right now, in athletics, in about for about 10 years now, we've not had 2 male running in any finals. And this is, after 10 years, we broke the drought of 10 years, having 2 male running in the 100 meters finals. That is Enoch Adegoke and Sheye, which is perfect. But right now, the rise of athletics, male in athletics is on the rise right now.
Well, back again to Amastania, what was your preparation like before going to the games? Did you guys have enough training? Did you also have enough exposure by participating in other competitions before then?
Yeah, I think we have been in camp. We have been in camp for 4 months before the Commonwealth Games. You know, before then, we were told we will go out for training tours, outside for training tours. But the president came up with a good opinion, and he said, because if we go outside, we won't be able to have good training partners to spy with us, and that it's better we stay back in Nigeria to train. And then we buy the idea with him, and we stayed back. And then our staying back was not a loss. Honestly, it was not a loss. We prepared very hard, having good experienced coaches, and then good training partners. So I think we prepared very well. We prepared very well for these 4 months. African Championship before along the preparation came up, and then we participated, hosted by Nigeria in Port Harcourt. We participated in the African Championship and dominated Africa in wrestling. And so I think it motivated us, give us the morale to go out for the Commonwealth Games also. Now
you have a gap of around 2 years or so before the Olympics. What does this tell you? Or are you getting in shape? Because that's the height of elite competition.
Exactly. That is the focus, that is the vision I have, mostly, and the same vision with my teammates also. Because if you do a game, wrestling, and you don't get to the height of Olympics, you have not done the sports, you have not done wrestling. That is the way I look at it. And so every good wrestler must have the vision of becoming an Olympic champion. If you don't have that vision, then you will not have that perseverance, or you will not have that passion to remain in the game. And so the highest is the Olympics, and that is our focus.
All right, now, the emergence of Oluwatobilola Amosun was a big discovery for us. The emergence of it was a bright ray. It was a ray of hope. How do we begin to discover talents like her?
Well, we've actually started working on all those in those areas, because we've opened the channel for youth discovery, like going for the youth games and so on and so forth. And then apart from that, when I came on board as a technical director, I said, look, I don't want any standard. I want the events to be open where everybody can come, because you will be so surprised that a man hawking on the street can just come in if there's opportunity for him to run and prove himself. So you can discover talent there, but if you have a barrier and say, you know, there's a standard for local competitions, you don't have this standard, you don't have these performances, you can't get in there. You must start from somewhere. So we're going back to the basics now, like making sure our coaches are attached to schools. Like every coach must be attached to at least 2 schools wherever they are to discover these talents, because we believe we can actually get them from there. Because of course, since the death of the school sports, where we usually get, because I was a product of the school sport, so you know, since the death of the school sports, it has been very difficult for the federations to actually discover talents. You have to you do it imaginarily. So but now we're saying, okay, coaches go back and then see schools, be part of the inter-house sports and so on, and get these talents for us. Of course, we have a standard for them too. We need certain body build and certain heights that they've not been working with before now. But I am saying now, go back. We need this height for a male. We need this height for a female. Look at these areas. Look at that area, and then let's put it together.
Well, something I'm sure you must have noticed this yourself. In the past, Nigeria often beat its chest, in athletics, and said track and field, we are there in the sprints, and if you like, up to understand the middle distance races of at least 4x4. Well, here you are in the recent years, South Africa, Botswana, they have swept Nigeria aside, and you see this at the Olympics. You've seen this now at the Commonwealth Games. What's happening?
You know, when I actually saw your program, the one you just ended, when people talk about fear and phobia, we have same problem in sports, for example, in athletics, where you say that these athletes were not good in this event, we are very good in that event, and so on. You know, it's actually a no-no for me. As a Nigerian, I believe we're universal. We can do great things, and I believe that we shouldn't keep saying we're very good in sprint and leaving the long distance running now. So that is why I came up also, because we've walked ahead of what you just said now. This is about the first time Nigeria has presented a walking race athlete. Since the session of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria in 1944, I came up, I said, this time we have to go with the walking race athlete, which we went, and she did very well. Came, I think, 11th position in the Commonwealth Games, which is a good score for us. And then we said, okay, in the high jump, 1964 was the last time we featured a male high jumper. We came up with one and said, let's go, let's try it again. And we came with the athlete. And even at the World Championship last year, I came up with an athlete that runs 800 meters. And he did very well. So we're looking at those areas and saying them and saying, look, we believe in ourselves. We can go to 10,000 meters. We can go to the marathons. We can do this and that. But if you don't expose them, how would you know they are good or they are not good? Yeah,
but exposing them doesn't mean you are neglecting what used to be your strong point. Yes. Are we now saying that, okay, the sprints, because there are a number of medals, as you very well know, in the sprints, and then, sprints, 400 is also regarded as sprints, and 200. Yeah. What is happening? Is there a dearth of talents, after Onyale and Blessing or Kagbare? It should be with great difficulty that you can find athletes that can be at the elite stage.
I tell you now that on our pool, in the next 2-3 years, you have pools of young athletes that will be ready to fit in those shoes because of the discovery we've made. We are not neglecting our stronghold. We are only strengthening our strongholds, but also we have to look at those other areas, because if you see Jamaica did not win any sprint event in the Commonwealth Games. They came out, they went to the throws, and where nobody saw them coming from, they capitalized on the throws, and that was what gave them. So we also have to diversify, look at other places, and still hold on to our strongholds, and then we believe we'll be on top of it.
All right, thank you very, very much, Sunday Adile. Now, Amos Dani, let's get to closing thoughts. How do you think we can prepare for the Olympics? It's 2 years away.
Yeah, I think Nigeria have to start preparing for the Olympics now. If you look at wrestling and if you look at sports in Nigeria now, I think it needs long preparation. It needs focus. I think we need something better than what we are doing now. Oh, yeah. I have to congratulate them. They tried in camping the athletes for 4 months. I think before the first time I've seen Nigeria camp athletes for 4 months since I came into sports. I think I have to congratulate them for that, but they should do that.
All right, Amos Daniel, Captain Wrestling and the bronze medalist at the just concluded Commonwealth Games. Thanks a lot for being in our studios this morning.
Thank you, sir.
And best of luck going forward. Sunday Adela, Technical Director, Athletics Federation of Nigeria. Thank you for being with us. Congratulations on your success so far.
Thank you very much.
And best wishes going forward.
Thank you.
All right, now let's that does it for our 3 topics for discussion today. Let's go over now to our arts and entertainment desk before we call it a day.
Life is all about change. Àìmásìkò ló ń dààmú ẹ̀dá, ṣe bóun gbogbo lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ló wà. Mo ní kìràkìtà ò dọ́là, ká ṣiṣẹ́ bí ẹrú ò já nǹkan ṣe k'Olúwa nígbè níga.
Some say he was one of the greatest musicians in his generation. Others say he was a gifted entertainer with the mastering of the art that cut across comedy, compare, events planning, and talent management.
Every step that I have taken in my life has been towards a purpose that's bigger than me. If you had to go back, say, like 15 years ago or about 20 years ago, music as we have it in Nigeria now it wasn't that way. It was difficult for most of the upcoming artists to even have expression. There was no platform. There was nowhere they could find that expression. I believe that if you have to correct someone, you have to first teach him. You know.
He started his career as a rapper while in high school before switching over to singing.
So I started off in Sule in my music. Before that time, I was always into making shows, events. I started off in secondary school with a rave group called Def.
So when you tell my story, to God alone you give the glory. For men for don't buy me, but my God don't hide me. Oh, you
With love for music influenced by early exposure to music of the likes of Fela Anikulapo Kuti and King Sunny Ade, Nomolus became a force to reckon with in the Nigerian entertainment industry in his generation. With hit songs like Yawasiko, Orere, Olulufe and Kilode, which enjoyed massive airplays and became a street anthem.
Olulufe, don't you know I love you? Olulufe, don't you know I care?
He went off the entertainment scene for a while due to protracted ailment after he released a new album titled Beautiful Things to announce his return to mainstream music in June 2015 with collaboration with Yemi Alade amongst others.
Girl, I can take no more. Oh, don't you see? You're leading me out the door. No, I must be scream, I must be shout.
The late singer will be remembered for the role he played as a committee leader for the fundraising of OJB Jazirel's kidney transplant in 2013.
It's all about time. It's all about chance. Life is all about time. Life is all about
All right, now let's quickly join the Nigerian Meteorological Agency for the weather outlook for the rest of today.
Good day, regionals on the weather segment. We expect a relaxation in weather activities over most part of the country, as Friday morning is going to be mostly cloudy with sunshine intervals, although Ingu and its environment may experience light headiness, while localized thunderstorms is likely over Calabar axis. Later in the afternoon into evening hours, there are chances of isolated thunderstorms over Yola, Mambila Plateau, Lafia, Makurdi, Jos, Abuja, parts of the inland cities and the coast. Stay tuned for temperature forecast. I am Safia Sayunusa. Thank you for watching.
And that's the weather outlook for the rest of today. It rained last night here in the nation's capital.
More windy and more rain in the Federal Capital Territory.
Then during the day it was actually very hot.
Absolutely.
And thank God for the rain as
well.
well. Do hope you enjoy the rest of your day and of course enjoy your weekend. Good Morning Nigeria. We'll be back on Monday morning at 7 a.m. God willing. I'm Rhoda Anonan.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. Thanking you for being with us too. Enjoy your day and your weekend too.
NTA2Lagos Network Center.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a tiring day? Lagos Resource Center is it. A place of hospitality and relaxation. An interaction center for retreats, AGMs, lectures, conferences, social activities for corporate bodies, individuals.
Corruption. I will always suffer to all customers at the correct amount because change begins with me.
Our pastries, Nigerian and international dishes, as our Bethany kitchen makes you ask for more. Our hall of various sizes are fully equipped with.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information.
Apple for your meditation and prayers after a busy day.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Are like pearls strung together. Live in each season as it passes. Breathe the air and taste the fruits. Then resign yourself in the influence of each. I am Ekemini Williams. And I am Captain Gufan Shaji. Welcome to Click Light, where we keep it real and groovy. Thanks for joining us on another exciting episode where we celebrate everything entertainment. From what's buzzing, the special guests, and the trappings of events that speak to culture. This is our show for today. Nollywood Awards Plus, the Street Vibe, Legbegbe on the Music Review. interesting lineup right there. Oh yeah, and as Big Brother winds down to top earners in the entertainment industry, this is the Entertainment News.
As the 2018 Big Brother Naija reality show winds down, stars and celebrities in the entertainment industry have come out to show public support for their favorite housemates. One man's meat, they say, is another's poison. That's right, Nigerian singer Small Doctor has professed his love for Big Brother Naija housemate Sisi, who is popularly referred to as a drama queen, as she frequently gets into fights inside the Big Brother Naija house. Some have reportedly condemned Small Doctor, who posted a tweet saying he just can't wait to marry the drama queen when she returns.
Everybody they para,
Good dude, I know you love me like cook food, even though it gotta move like a crook move. We was together on the block since
Sean Corey Carter, popularly known as Jay-Z, the American rapper and hip-hop artist, has hit a point with him being named as the richest hip-hop act of 2018 by Forbes.
But deep inside it, so sick. I can't see him coming down my eyes, so I gotta make the song cry.
The rapper overthrows his colleague Sean Combs, also known as PDD, raking in a whopping sum of $900 million in 2017 due to his various business endeavors, including his Spirit brand and Rock Nation music label, of course.
I'll be home soon. I hear the tears of a clown.
In second place comes PDD with $825 million, followed by Dr. Dre, making Forbes' top 5 list of wealthiest hip-hop artists of 2018.
Maybach music.
Meanwhile, we also have report of Maybach music record label boss Rick Ross being placed on some form of life support at a hospital in Miami.
We fell in love on the first date. The first date, a beautiful girl gonna make the earth shake. I look into the mirror, all I do is stare. In the back of my mind, all I see is her.
Ross is reported to be treated for respiratory issues in the hospital's cardiac unit. There have been unconfirmed reports suggesting the severity of the rapper's condition, as the 42-year-old is reported to have suffered cases of seizures in the past.
Turn up the music, we bumpin' P-Square. #1 in the game and we gon' be here. Always making hits of my convict. We talking money or you talking nonsense?
However, a number of entertainers have shown their goodwill while praying for a speedy recovery.
Take my hand, baby. I just wanna be a man, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's it on Entertainment News. You could follow us on Twitter at ClickClyde on NTA.
And there's quite a lot happening right there on the entertainment scene, and I would say that, you know, I wish Small Doctor the best of luck on his quest to actually getting married.
Everybody's finding love.
Oh, Small Doctor, and then, you know, you have Captain Gufan Shaji.
And then your Benry brother again.
You know.
But then again, speaking about Rick Ross, as much as we wish him speedy recovery, this is like a clarion call. I don't know if I should call it that to this artist in the entertainment industry. You know, when the money comes and when the girls come and the exposure comes, you know, they tend to be exposed to some reckless lifestyle that pose a challenge to their health. So I think, you know, as much as we want to live the life, we should try to watch it too, you know, for our own sake.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Moving on. Having done many nationwide tours, delving into the world of modeling and acting, This Benue State-born artist believes embracing peace is the way for Nigeria. Let's meet him on the Artist Zone.
My name is Benny Willis, aka Nigerian's craziest, the one and only Benny Willis. Remember that.
Hey, Mr. DJ, I'm playing the music. I'm Benny Willis. Yeah. If you wanna ask me where to be, if you wanna ask me where to be, keep on playing.
When it comes to genre, I really don't have a genre because I'm an eclectic. You see, an eclectic is someone who gets from here, put it together and make something great out of it. That's what we do, eclectic. So when my inspiration bends towards reggae, I do reggae. When it goes to R&B, I do R&B. When it goes to the garage music, I do garage music. So I don't have a genre. I could be anybody. That's it.
Next time you go yes in a Maraba, from Maraba to Bagualada. This thing doesn't make me wonder.
This song close to my heart because every time I come into Nigeria, I find out that when I switch on the news, I keep hearing the same thing. People are killing each other, people are dying. They'll be burning up every part of Nigeria right now. And even the Nigerians that are outside Nigeria are going through the same thing. And nobody's talking about it. So I came up with a song called Crisis, Speak My Mind. And I hope a lot of people gonna listen to it and understand it because we're killing each other too much. We don't have to. I think the government is doing a good job. They're trying. You might not be seeing it, but they're trying. They don't come to your rooms to explain it, but they're trying. I think it starts from you and me as a person. You see, when you're driving up on the streets and you see a red light, you don't stop, you're doing the same thing you're complaining about. We just got to come together and try to make it right. You're living with an armed robber, you don't talk about it, you're doing the same thing. Because when we talk about change and trying to make a country a better place, it has to start from us.
If you see this baby, she find it well, if she start to dance, she be like machine. Me, I want to see her mama, because I like the baby, she just to kill me with her
Ratings, Nigerian music industry. I'm going to be straight with you, Nigerians are the most talented people that I've seen. Because when you say industry, we almost don't got labels right here. Everything you see right there is individual effort. An artist starts from the scratch, pushes himself to the top, and you accept that artist. That is great. You don't see that in everywhere in the world. They got to teach you how to dance when you're outside Nigeria. They got to have some community to move your PR. But in Nigeria, you do everything yourself. So if you say ratings, I put them up here. But if you say message, that's crazy because you see, nobody wants to hear the truth. A lot of times, most of these musicians that you're seeing, they be telling the truth, but you didn't hear them. But when they started doing their booty, and everybody be dancing because there's just too much pressure in Nigeria, and when they do the booty, that's what the people clap. So if you are selling something, it is what the people want you to sell. But I want to be one of those people who's not only going to be doing the booty, to be talking about what is happening in Nigeria. I try to make a change. I know I might not be the one to change it, but if more voices pop out, we're going to make a change. Look what they say. Have mercy, Lord, I'm a Nigerian. I'm not hearing me. Have mercy, Lord, I'm a Nigerian. Big up people, this is Benny Willis, aka Nigerian Craziest Matalia. Here they say, now come for back up right here in NTA. Now touch the blood clot dial, cause we're ready to take over. Yeah.
Wow, quite encouraging. That's quite encouraging, Captain. You know, peace has always been the way to go, and will always be the way to go.
Yes, indeed. It's actually a clarion call for us to stop the hate, stop the killings, embrace one another, and have a strong one Nigeria.
Let me think. Cheers to peace.
The Make the News will deliver it to you on the platter with a difference.
The world of arts and entertainment, an endless path to opportunities.
From the motion pictures, music, fashion, comedy, visual arts, personality, and lifestyle.
Experience the glitz and glamour. A total package on the program where we celebrate creativity and style.
My name is Mahogany from the Good Morning Nigeria show on Cool FM. Keep watching Quick Light on NTA.
Indeed, they say the reward for hard work is
more work, unfortunately.
But sometimes you pause and get applauded for hard work.
Sure deal, Gufan. And that is what the Nollywood Awards sort of did recently. Let's start in Okun. Tell us what went down.
It's the time again to celebrate game changers in the entertainment industry for their continuous commitment to the excellent evolving trends in Nollywood.
If we'll be rated the third in the world in terms of production, before they say quality, quantity, now we are talking about quality. You know, we always go extra miles these days to get the quality out of the productions, especially the young ones. They call it the third generation of Nollywood. So that's my take on that. We've taken over already.
For over 2 decades, the Nigerian film industry has captured the true African story, bringing to bear the ingenuity of actors, directors, producers, scriptwriters, and many others behind the scene.
Well, we are taking a place. You know, it's no longer the way it used to be. When you watch home movies these days, it's all about Africa, Nigeria at the center of it. We are going places.
As of now, Nollywood is the second industry in terms of production. And before we are third, now we're second. And like 10 years back, 10 years back, nobody even knew anything about Nollywood. You understand? But in few years now, we have made it to second, at least, whether in production, whether in whatever, at least for you to be second in anything in this life, in the world, is something that is big. And it's a sign that something great, something big, something wonderful is going to happen to this industry very, very soon.
The Nollywood Excellence and Leadership Awards therefore sets out to celebrate artistic ideas and creativity of the top 100 Nollywood actors and actresses, a compendium from 2005 to 2017.
When we started with showing just cassettes and shooting with 700 camera, but now we've gone technical, we've gone nuclear, and we are doing almost as what the Hollywood people are doing, although we still have small challenges with marketing our movies.
High point at the event is the premiere of the movie Makida, which showcases the diverse, rich cultural heritage of Nigeria.
Yeah, it's a movie that portrays the real African culture. It tells people how African leaders or African kings pass their judgments and the realness in their judgments.
If the young ones climb a mountain, they still cannot see what the elders are saying.
I hereby present this special award to the President of Actors Guild of Nigeria in the person of Emeka Rollins. Thank you.
Hollywood Excellence and Leadership Awards was established to strengthen the influence of Pan-African filmmakers and increase representation of ensuring that the rich and diverse experiences of African actors and their lives are reflected on screen.
Wow, what an excellent and beautiful display of artistry right here.
That's right, Captain. You can say that again. I guess who's here?
It is Ricky Rossi.
Let's make a joke out of everything.
Oh, come on, he's my buddy.
We do hope he gets well soon.
All right, yeah, get well soon.
So let's take you to a world of an excellent visual artist breaking boundaries. Let's see this.
Watches over everything we see.
With each stroke of brush, every splash of color, these different art paintings reflecting various ideologies, beliefs, and values in the mind of artists. This art exhibition addresses topical issues that affect day-to-day lives.
I just want you to see these things the way they are. Taking the bull by the horn. This is just a family of three, a father, a mother, and their word. This person he knows where he's going to, but he has decided to face it squarely. You see, it's a lonely path. They don't know where it leads, but they are sure. If you can see this spot here, that is light. So you don't have to be scared always. Learn to take the bull by the horn.
This is my favorite piece here because it's a painting of a woman and it has so many colors on it which depicts her weakness, her strengths, her pains, her joy, her happiness. It says so much about a woman. Her low times, her hard times, her happy times.
Themed are daydreams. This exhibition seeks to bridge the gap between fantasies and realities.
It tells a lot about life. It reminds you of sometimes the past, it reminds you of the present and also the future. It means a lot, a whole lot. I have some of the artworks in my house, which is done by Jamil. Yes. When you look into them, they read deep meanings.
iPhone 1, iPhone 2.
Music indeed, they say, is food for the soul. On our music review, we'll bring you this piece from Mr. Real, which he calls Delectable, you checking me out, yeah? Checking me out, yeah?
10 billion for my moto.
Mr. It's up a dice.
Oh yeah, fun on leg back. Oh yeah, fun on leg back. Oh yeah, fun on leg back.
Leg back by Mr. Real. Actually like the song, like I'm a huge fan. So it's going to be really difficult for me to criticize that song.
iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 3.
Well, I feel he wanted to do like a street kind of vibe, and yeah, he delivered, if you ask me. Okay, now the lyrics doesn't really make any sense because I'm not Yoruba, but I've asked, and like the lebebe, as I heard, they said it's side by side. Now he's like iPhone 1, lebebe, iPhone 2, like it doesn't really make any sense. iPhone 1 side by side, iPhone 2 side by side. So
iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 3, iPhone 4, iPhone 5.
If you're taking it literally, it doesn't make any sense. But then, come on, the Nigerians, we just want to dance and groove. So
they want change for my dollar.
News 24, I am Anne Jibuno. Thanks for joining us. Nigerians in the United Kingdom describe President Buhari's re-election bid as the rekindling of Nigeria's hope for a sustainable future. Federal government reiterates the belief in the ability of the youth to take the country to greater heights. Civil society group drums support for INEC ahead of the 2019 election. In sports, Nigerian player gives Nigerians reason to believe in the World Cup dream. Nigerians in the United Kingdom have been speaking on the recent declaration of intent by President Muhammadu Buhari to seek re-election, describing it as the rekindling of Nigeria's hope for a sustainable future. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the diasporans are urging their countrymen back home to desist from scuttling genuine efforts at making the country more secure, highly respected and prosperous.
At his last public engagement before leaving Nigeria for the United Kingdom on official visit, President Muhammadu Buhari told the stakeholders of the governing APC and indeed Nigerians of his decision to recontest the 2019 presidential election. That pronouncement has generated a lot of reaction from Nigerians within and outside the country. For those in the United Kingdom, the decision by the Nigerian leader to run is not only fulfilling and reassuring, but in the best interest of the country.
We need President Muhammad Buhari, and regardless of who you worship, what God you call upon, please pray for the man. Hold up his hand and allow him another 4 years to carry through the project that he started.
So that me and you and our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren will have a better and greater Nigeria. If we disrupt that, Nigeria will just fall backwards many more years. So in my own opinion, I support the government wholeheartedly because the government means well. It might be painful now, but joy comes tomorrow.
2019 is a time that Nigerians need to come up and support the God-given president we have. Rome is not being in a day. We need to be patient.
The respondents expressed the belief that, given the circumstances President Buhari met on ground on coming to power, he has lived up to expectations, especially in diversifying the economy, tackling corruption and insecurity, describing them as well as his honesty, integrity and patriotic disposition as his major selling points.
He's been the only president Nigeria ever produced without the stain of corruption.
He has stepped on so-called toes by stopping the looting, the continuous looting with impunity that has been taking place in the past. So these people will come back and want to fight him. That's why I'm calling on every Nigerian to come out and fight for the destiny of our nation.
A lot of people are against him, but I'm sure they will fail because anything good, not many people will like it. But I know with God on our side, Buhari will win because he's doing his best.
With President Buhari, I can hold my head high anywhere and say, yes, I am a Nigerian.
Despite indicating his willingness to run, issues relating to the next general elections, President Muhammadu Buhari insists are not his major preoccupation for now, rather the security of the country and our economic well-being. From London, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Thank you, Adamu. And back in Nigeria, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has reiterated the belief of the Buhari administration in the ability of the youth to take the country to greater heights. The administration, he says, remains committed to supporting young Nigerians in different areas, including politics. This was when he met a delegation of not too young to run campaigners who were in the villa to canvass the support of the federal government on their campaign. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
For office at any age. As a matter of fact, I have benefited from being very young. And
experience is a great asset, and sharing this experience with youth as a leader who has seen it all prepares them for the great task ahead.
It's a government that is focused on the youth. We believe that the vibrancy that we need to take the Nigerian economy and the Nigerian nation as an idea to the next level lies with the youth. They are resilient, they are innovative, they have energy, they are bursting with a lot of life, and that is why this government is focusing a lot on what young people are doing in areas of technology, even in entertainment, in all areas of human endeavor.
At this meeting with Not Too Young to Run group, the Vice President reiterated that young Nigerians should be allowed to run for elective positions as they have demonstrated capacity and competence in the fields of technology, education, and other sectors of the economy. While congratulating the group on its achievements so far, the Vice President urged them to lend their voices to campaigns on issues related to anti-corruption. Samson Itodo led the delegation.
Here a few weeks ago, when we marched to the villa to deposit our letter of demand, calling on the executive and the Buhari-led administration to answer the call of history by assenting to Not Too Young to Run. And so we've just come here to place that demand on the need to assent to this bill once it is transmitted by the National Assembly to the executive for assent.
He says the group is excited to see a significant number of young people working in the office of the Vice President, which he notes showed the commitment of the administration to engage young Nigerians in the process of governance. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
With 32 states currently benefiting from the Ecological Fund, the federal government has made tremendous strides in ensuring the well-being of Nigerians, especially those affected by ecological problems, and has also reiterated the commitment to do more in addressing ecological issues in the country. This was when the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo received the delegation of Orumba North and Orumba South communities in Anambra State who were on a thank you visit to the presidential villa here in Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Onifade again reports.
The visit was a follow-up to the national burial given to late Alex Ekweme, former Vice President of Nigeria. The delegation, led by Ben Nwankwo, a member of the House of Representatives, thanked the federal government for giving the deceased a befitting burial. The delegation commended the federal government for tackling ecological challenges in the southeast and called on it to step up the action.
There is erosion haram in the southeast, particularly in Anambra State.
The Vice President also gave audience to Governor Imalod Udom of Akwa Ibom State.
It's been a good meeting. We've discussed the entire economy of the nation. I'm also looking forward to a whole lot of, happenings within this period, because I can see our economy should move much faster. Yesterday, the oil price was well over $73 a barrel. This is a good sign of an economy that should get into a boom very soon.
The governor appealed to the media, saying it's a critical time for objective and good reporting of Nigeria as a country. He also cautioned against making uncomplimentary comments that have the capacity to disrupt the peace of the country. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Well, following the invasion of the Senate chamber of the National Assembly on Wednesday morning by suspected thugs who disrupted the Senate plenary and carted away the mace, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, instituted a high-powered police investigation and intelligence team coordinated by the monitoring unit of the force. A statement by the Deputy Force Public Relations Officer, SP Aremu Adeniran, says the IGP directed a total lockdown of the Federal Capital Territory with intense surveillance patrol. The massive raids of identified criminal spots and flashpoints, stop and search operations, visibility and confidence-building patrols, intelligence gathering forced the suspected miscreants to abandon the mace under the flyover before the city gate, where patriotic citizens saw it and alerted the police. While a discreet investigation into the incident is still ongoing to arrest and bring the perpetrators to justice, the Nigeria Police Force appreciates the spirited members of the public, most especially motorists within Abuja metropolis, for their support, cooperation and timely information during the rigorous stop and search operations for the recovery of the mace. Well, the mace snatching scenario, which played out at the Red Chamber of the National Assembly, has been condemned by a cross-section of Deltans. Though the mace has been reportedly recovered by the police, respondents want drastic measures to be taken against the perpetrators of the undemocratic act. Austin Edemodu tells us more.
The incident of mace snatching at the hallowed chambers of the legislature is not new to the political terrain in Nigeria. However, the recent invasion of the Red Chamber of the 8th Senate by hoodlums who made away with the mace has not gone down well with some Nigerians in Delta State. This is coming from the alleged involvement of Senator Ovie Omo Agege, representing Delta Central, who was recently suspended by the Senate.
What happened yesterday, it could be likened to a coup. And we must, as a country, do to these persons involved, irrespective of how highly placed they are, to what we do to those who decide to overthrow the government of a country. Because they were playing with our collective will.
That is condemnable. I'm sure that my party, APC, has condemned it. Nigerians in their entirety condemn it. But again, people must not lose sight of what is taking place in the National Assembly. National Assembly must learn to operate within the confines of the law.
Court ruled that they don't have rights to suspend anybody more than 14 days. So I think there's some mix-up somewhere.
Though there has been varied arguments on whether the suspension of the senator was valid or not. However, the manner in which the snatching of the mace was carried out has left more questions than answers on the nation's security.
You have series of check-ins. So there must be complicity in what has happened, which needs to be really investigated. It's not a thing they have to sweep under the carpet. Let us assume that it was Boko Haram. That means all our senators, even those in House of Rep, all of them would have been slaughtered.
Interestingly, the mace has been recovered by the security agents as Nigerians await the next line of action in bringing the perpetrators to book. From Asaba and Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
Senate plenary on Thursday commenced with heightened security presence and a lengthy executive session by the legislators, which was presided over by Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu. Our National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports that following the closed-door session, the Deputy Senate President made some key statements relating to the disturbance.
The Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu commenced his address with commendations to various quarters for the support and shows of solidarity to the National Assembly over Wednesday's incident.
I want to register deep appreciation to you, my colleagues, for your understanding and maturity in the face of flagrant provocation. I want to also especially appreciate the leadership and members of the House of Representatives, the management and staff of the National Assembly, Ugly and provocative as the event of yesterday was, it shows that the entire nation and the world stood together in total condemnation of the ugly drama.
Ekweremadu also commended the security agencies for the swift recovery and presentation to the National Assembly management of the mace. What perhaps might be considered the critical aspect of the Deputy Senate President's comments are what he said regarding bringing the perpetrators of Wednesday's disturbance to justice.
We'll get to the roots of this matter. We therefore call on the Inspector General of Police and the DGSSS to ensure that all those who plotted, aided, abetted, and executed this dastardly affront on our democracy must be brought to book to serve as a deterrent to others. I want to assure Nigerians that we will never waver in the responsibility they have elected us to shoulder.
Normal legislative business continued thereafter with the passage of the Chartered Polymer Institute of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2018 and the passage of 4 bills for second reading, including a bill for an act to establish the National Child Protection and Enforcement Agency. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adigunloye, NTA News.
Away from stories relating to the mace snatching saga, now the textile industry is one sector that is capable of creating more than 1 million jobs for Nigerians. This was the argument of members of the House of Representatives as they passed for second reading a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Textile Industry Trust Fund. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports.
In a prolonged debate, members of the House of Representatives argued on a bill that seeks to provide financial assistance to operators of textile industry in the form of loans and grants. The bill, sponsored by Representative Jerry Alaboso from Imo State, was generally supported.
We should tackle the unemployment, promote made in Nigerian goods, and will contribute to the GDP. Once you don't have the technology of adding value to your product, you are going to be perpetually and eternally tied to the April string of the developed world.
You see, the problem about us as Nigerians, we value imported items to the detriment of the locally produced.
What steps can we take to get this market competitive? Because the consumption of textile materials, especially in the northern part, is huge.
So I think we should go back to the basic. We start from the production of cotton. There is a bank of industry that is specifically established to support industries and textile industry inclusive.
2 other bills for an act to establish the Federal Polytechnic Mulumfashi, Katsina State, sponsored by Representative Babangida Ibrahim, and the one for an act to establish the Federal College of Education, Efon Alaye, by Representative Johnson Oni, were also passed through second reading. Health matter also resonated on the floor as Representative Edward Pajok from Plateau State moved the motion for the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to immediately check the practice of ripening fruits artificially by fruit sellers.
Banana, plantain, and oranges, food dealers use a chemical, calcium carbide, to ripen fruits, causing cancer. You see them with all manner of things, but I thought I was coming from the farm. My sister said to me, this is the process of ripening it. They use carbide. Food is also equivalent to drug in most cases. What we are talking about is simple respiratory process that is being hastened. NAFDAC should do more than just alert us. They should go into the market as the mover of the motion is insisting.
7 bills were passed through first reading, including a bill for the establishment of the Bakassi Resettlement, Integration and Development Commission, sponsored by Representative Essien Ebering from the National Assembly, Ignatius Unko, NTA News.
Now, the People's Democratic Party says it is willing to form an alliance and work with like minds ahead of the 2019 general elections. National Chairman of the PDP, Prince Uche Secondus, stated this during the 79th National Executive Committee meeting of the party. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Birnin-Kudu reports.
Top on the agenda of the meeting, attended by notable National Executive Committee members, includes the state of affairs in the party, especially reconciliation of members and matters concerning 2 governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun states. Prince Uche Secondus stated that the Senator David Mark Committee on Ekiti election has succeeded in uniting aspirants, and similar efforts is being extended to Osun State chapter of the party.
We can't do it alone, and so you must join us to make the university better. Let's open up conversation. Let's open up discussion with groups, interest groups, political parties. Whatever sacrifice needs to be made, whatever accommodation needs to be made, we have to make it. We form political parties to win the election, not just to socialize.
The party leaders also condemned the invasion of the National Assembly by some talks, calling on the federal government to bring the culprit to book. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba-Bomankudu, NTA News.
Still staying with politics, the Independent Service Delivery Monitoring Group is urging all political parties, civil society groups, politicians, and indeed all Nigerians to continue to support the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as it prepares to deliver free, fair, and credible elections in 2019. This is against the backdrop of perceived non-utilization of displayed voters' registration over the years by political parties, as we heard from Timothy Yusuf.
Section 9 of the Electoral Act 2010 has amended and empowers INEC to compile, maintain and update a credible voters register. The Electoral Management Body, in response to an FY request sent by the Independent Service Delivery Monitoring Group, responded that since the last 2 election cycles, INEC has been issuing copies of the register to political parties. However, there was no record of any political party ever approaching the Commission with any claims and objections as per the contents of the register.
These are political parties that have offices and presence in every ward in Nigeria. So that simply means that with the presence of political parties, it is easy to identify any individuals or groups that should not ordinarily be in the voter register, whether they're underage, whether they're aliens, you should know them. Not a single claim and objection has been made by political parties here since 2011.
Other reforms introduced by INEC that improved on the process include biometric registration and electronic accreditation using the card reader.
There's a marked departure to do the right thing. There's a marked, systemic approach to correct whatever anomalies that we witnessed in 2015.
Other speakers maintained that political parties remain an integral part of the process that achieving the desired reforms of institutionalizing a credible electoral process. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The National Chairman, Petroleum Tankers Drivers Association, PTD, Comrade Solomon Oladiti, has urged the federal government to urgently intervene in what he calls the alleged burden of extortion of its members by security operatives in Lagos State. Comrade Oladiti says for the association's believes in the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, who is doing his best to reposition the nation's economy, but such extortion of its members is moving against government's efforts. Lydia Sampson reports.
Successive administrations in Lagos State have continued to look for solutions to the traffic crisis in Apapa and its environs, occasioned mainly by heavy-duty trucks. The Petroleum Tanker Drivers Association, PTD, has collaborated with government always in the search for lasting solutions. National Chairman, Petroleum Tanker Drivers Association, Comrade Solomon Oladiti, at the moment said the major concern of the body is the alleged rampant extortion from security agencies meted out on petroleum tanker drivers.
All the security agents that they are doing the work, they turn it to toll. For example, any truck that you want to cross from Mobi Malu Road Bridge down to Wharf to Folawiyo, that area, you have to pay 30,000 naira.
He said the government needs to step in urgently and curb what is clearly an attempt to discredit the fight against corruption.
It's because of the interest that we have in this government. We could have shut down Lagos. And we know that by the time we shut down Lagos, we shut down Nigeria, because 70% of the total imported product to this country are passed through Lagos.
The association, he said, is aware of the critical role of Lagos State as Nigeria's economic gateway, hence the need to cultivate harmonious working relationship with all stakeholders, including petroleum tanker drivers. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Sustaining global growth riding on the back of technology is at the heart of discussions at the ongoing spring meetings in Washington, D.C. Babatunde reports that both the IMF and the World Bank say it is necessary to harness human capital potentials through international cooperation.
With an everyday increasing technological advancement propelled by disruptions and a digital economy, the World Bank Group says Africa needs to do more not to be left behind. President of the World Bank Group, Jin Kim, says Africa needs to pay particular attention to human and fiscal capital development.
We also see lots of evidence that suggests that many of the low-skilled jobs will be taken over by technology. Now, there's also tremendous hope for technology. I think there's tremendous hope that technology could help some African countries, many African countries who hope, leapfrog and go forward and find new ways of driving economic growth. But that there's no getting away from the need to invest much more and much more effectively in health and education.
With public debt at all-time highs, IMF's Christine Lagarde says nations must step up reforms, build buffers and steer clear of protectionism measures.
Given the fiscal position and the debt burden, it's time to actually do this intelligent fiscal consolidation, gradual over time and growth-friendly, so that while continuing to encourage this growth process, it's also very cautious with the way in which public spending is spent and collections are being made.
While the IMF calls for sustenance of cyclical upswing to undertake necessary structural reforms, the World Bank wants nations to stay on the target of bringing global poverty down and propel financial inclusion. From Washington, D.C., I'm Leah Katun, Babatunde, NTA News.
And back in Nigeria, state governments have been encouraged to implement the fiscal sustainability plan for the overall well-being of the society. Chairman of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Victor Murako, gave the advice at the launch of the Sub-National Fiscal Responsibility Report in Abuja. Victor Azu reports.
The Ministry of Finance initiated the Fiscal Sustainability Plan to help government at the subnational level stay afloat in the face of ever-fluctuating price of oil in the international market. This measure is also to encourage savings for the rainy day and promote fiscal responsibility. Supported by the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung Foundation, the Center for Social Justice embarked on a study to determine compliance level of states sometime in 2017. This event is therefore the formal presentation of findings to the public, and the lead director, Center for Social Justice, Eze shed more light on why the study became necessary.
The goal of the Fiscal Responsibility Project is to contribute to good economic governance through the implementation of the Fiscal Responsibility Act and similar laws, enhancing transparency, accountability, popular participation and value for money in the federal and state fiscal systems.
Chairman of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Victor Murako, who was represented, urged the states to be faithful to the implementation of the Fiscal Sustainability Plan.
We believe that the outcome of this important study will provide a veritable basis for further engagement with both the states benchmarks of the study as well as the other states in the future, in order to ensure that the states live up to their obligation in implementing the true action points of the FSP.
The National Assembly is currently undertaking a comprehensive amendment of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 to ensure effective implementation of the Fiscal Sustainability Plan. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
This is
This is the network service of the NTA.
Hello there, welcome to the Diaspora on the NTA. My name is Makut Simon Macham. Now this is the program that connects Nigerians in the diaspora to developments back home, and of course showcases what Nigerians in the diaspora are doing to contribute to national development. Welcome. On the program this week, a group of Nigerians in the United Kingdom meet President Muhammadu Buhari in London, endorse his re-election bid.
We've put in a lot of effort with the Indonesians to also include Nigeria in this.
Nigeria's ambassador to Indonesia about the welfare and well-being of Nigerians out there.
This is the first time the university is awarding a PhD in law, and I'm very happy to go down on record as the first student to be awarded that degree.
We have our Diasporan of the Week and news tidbits about Nigerians in the diaspora. Now, our first feature on today's program is the interaction between President Muhammadu Buhari and a group of Nigerians in the United Kingdom. The group is called the Buhari Diaspora Support Organization. The group met him in London, where he was attending the Commonwealth Heads of State and Government meeting, where they promised support for his re-election bid. My colleague Adamu Sambo sent in this report from London.
Members of the Buhari Diaspora Support Organization, led by Charles Sylvester, are visiting the president here in London to express formal appreciation for not only restoring Nigeria on the path to genuine prosperity, but also for his decision to recontest in 2019, so that, as they say, the fight of good against evil can be sustained in the best interests of the country. President Muhammadu Buhari commended the Diaspora Support Organization for the show of support, as well as the courage and sacrifice being demonstrated by members in defending the genuine efforts by his administration to make Nigeria better.
I cannot be grateful enough for you, because you showed a lot of personal courage and sacrifice to identify yourself with the administration here in diaspora. What I want to assure you is that your confidence is not being abused. We are doing our best to justify your confidence in the administration, and we appreciate the sacrifices we are making by being different, and we are not underrating the resources at the disposal of those people.
The president attributed the massive looting of the nation's resources as a result of the failure of past leadership as responsible for the poverty level in the country.
Among the elite, there are really wicked people that kept Nigeria poor. I went through the whole blast of Nigerian revolution, really political and military. So nobody could tell me anything. It's almost impossible to uncover and recover all that had been taken from Nigeria between 1999 and 2014. They were so inept, they were so bent on stealing, that they even forgot to cover stealing properly. God, we'll just do our best to impress and put on record that we have tried. But the damage they have done is virtually irrecoverable.
He promised to sustain efforts at making Nigeria work again for a sustainable future. Leader of the organization, Charles Sylvester, who enumerated the giant strides recorded by the Buhari administration in critical sectors of the economy, described as welcoming the president's declaration of intent to recontest in 2019.
The God who healed you and kept you to continue to rule Nigeria, the same God will grant you victory in 2019. You are the president of the masses. You have a record that we admire as our hero. And come 2019, we believe that it will be a fight of good against evil. It will be a fight of the agents of progress and the agents that are against progress. But we believe that the same masses that brought you to power by the grace of God will be there to support you.
He said with the administration now fixing the faulty foundations of Nigeria, the second term will see the building of an enduring structure, hence the resolve of the Buhari Support Organization to work assiduously towards the re-election of the Nigerian leader.
So that you can continue the good work that you are doing.
The group presented to the president some gift items in commemoration of the visit.
I saw the same thing here. It's sort of like when I think many times the artists think if they spend too much time on the copyright and try to create a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end, the consumer gets lost. Because there's so many issues between the economy, working, the like, people just want happy music. You know, they want to feel good. And so what they want is, they realize, or the composers realize, that you've got to repeat it a lot. So you want to hook this very repetitive. You want something from the local language, a certain jargon that you could kind of connect to. Yeah. And then the rhythm. So they don't spend a lot of time thinking about the concept. Sometimes you hear words that don't even mean anything. You know, I'm thinking that I'm lost, and I'm asking someone, what does that mean? I don't know either. But it sounds good. So it works the environment. Would that be music that you could now export? No, it's not going to be exportable because a lot of the music might be an Igbo, Yoruba, it may be in another dialect that may make it very regional. So it may not be even exportable across Africa. In certain places, they just love the vibe from Nigeria, and they love the way the music is composed, the beats per minute. So because it's good, you don't really have to understand what's being said. But if you try to take that same music and take it to the U.S., that now means you've got to try to bump Kendrick Lamar, bump Rihanna, bump Drake, because there's only a certain amount of time in an hour. And each song is about 3.5 minutes, so if you want to add one, you've got to take one out. So if your music is 150 beats per minute and you introduce it into the U.S. where it may be 90 beats per minute, sonically it's just not going to work. And then secondly, the dialect. They wouldn't understand what's going on, so it may not work. But you've got a community of African music, but it may not necessarily be, it's more of the traditional type. But you overcome that through collaborations.
Now we'll come to collaborations. We'll come to that. I don't want us to jump the gun. Now,
but going back, when you were asking about the quality, I think there's still a lot of need for improvement. You know, when you go into the U.S., they're checking microphones. They're trying to make sure this particular mic works with the tone of your voice. The engineers are doing everything possible to kind of create the best sound. Sometimes when you go in the studio here, you see there are a lot of deficiencies. One, it may just be the musical talent. You don't have the tertiary institutions that are teaching music. So, you know, necessity is a motherhood of invention. If you weren't taught how to play the guitar, you may now have to rely on digital. Same thing, you don't have schools here that are teaching good engineering. They're not teaching how to produce vocals. So you've got one person who's trying to do everything. To the best of their ability. So it's coming out good based on the limitations, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. Because if you hear the music that's mixed and mastered here, and you compare it to something in the U.S., it's going to be night and day. So you can't take what was mixed and mastered here and then put it up against a Jay-Z track where they may have paid X amount of money for it to be mastered. They used a really big studio. So if you put it next to each other, even though the music is good, it's danceable, and it's danceable and the like, radio won't look at it as an inferior quality.
Now, okay, thank you for that, because with all the optimism, we are saying that we've still just got a lot of work to do.
Still a lot of work.
Now, let's look at what we have in the U.S., for instance, Mark. The business structure there makes it possible for this improvement you're talking about. You talked about tertiary institutions to retrain and keep training and bringing out the best of people. We don't have that here.
Telling your story, or is somebody else telling your story? What media